welcome back to the second part of nutrition and diet. And in the previous episode, if you watched it, we discussed what is nutrition and we got a closer understanding of what metabolism is and how body metabolism varies from one body to the other. And we also learned about losing and gaining weight. So just in case you didn't watch it, please go back after you watch this one. But for now, we'll start with meal plans. Let's understand how often should I create a meal plan, or is it even necessary?
That's a very good question, and I thank God for this second session, because we can never really exhaust information when it comes to nutrition. So meal plans are how you are able to, let me put it this way, in reverse, plan your meal. What are you going to eat in breakfast? What are you going to eat at lunch? What are you going to eat between breakfast and lunch? What are you going to eat between lunch and dinner, for some supper? And what are you going to eat before you go to bed? Because you're supposed to count at least 2 or 3 hours before you go to bed. Don't eat after. That's why you hear the myth, eat at least by 8 o'clock, so that by the time you're sleeping by 10, your body has already cleared the clutter. So planning your meal is very important because it gives you confidence in what you're eating. Previously, we were trying to lay out our plate. Generally, the general basic is the bigger part of your plate has to hold vegetables and minerals. That is fruits and vegetables. And the other half should contain at least proteins and carbohydrates, right? That's what you were establishing. So we said, do not get limited in your proteins. You can do plant proteins, you can do animal proteins. You can decide to do animal products because they're still proteins. You can try and make sure that in every serving that you get, by the end of the day, you have attained your kilocalories. And that's why we were trying to establish how many servings you should have in a day, because the servings actually dictates your kilocalories. There is a maths that we do as nutritionists to determine your kilocalories that you need per day. Even while gaining weight, we calculate whenever, just a brief whatever, whenever I'm writing a meal plan for someone, I have to calculate what have they been eating the past 24 hours, what have they been eating the past 7 days, what have they been eating the past 1 month, because it has to make me understand what this person, 1, can be able to afford, 2, what is their preferences, 3, what they can readily find. So that when I'm calculating their kilocalories, one of the factors is 1, age, 2, gender, and 3, these maths that you do, that it's a long formula. So eventually when I come, I realize this person, by what they're eating, they ingest 1,800 kilocalories a day. So for me, I'll say plus 500, because they have to meet. But if I do that math and I see this person has been eating, for example, it's a lady and they've been attaining 2,800 kilocalories, then I do minus 5. Now that's why we are doing losing weight. So meal plan has into composition in that I have to, 1, see grams in each and every food composition. In that, how many grams are you taking in your proteins? How many grams are you taking in your carbohydrates? How many grams are you taking in your vegetables? How many grams are you taking in your juices? For example, if you do fruit juices, however, we recommend eat the fruit itself because of fiber. Another thing we look in is how many servings are you doing in the whole day. So that's what as a person you're supposed to be doing. I'm trying to simplify. So when you're putting food on your plate, one, check how many servings have I done on this plate. Have I done half ugali on my plate? That's like 5 servings of ugali. And if it's protein, if it's vegetable, how many servings have I done? And that's why you get now the whole picture.
Yeah, and just to cut you off, just a little bit, and you'll find mostly our Kenyan families, the ugali is usually the bigger one, then to skuma and meat.
Kenyan families really astonish me. They really fascinate me because I think in Kenya, or rather in Africa, we believe that if a person does not take enough ugali, that person is not eating. If a person does not take enough chapati, if a person does not take enough rice, that person is not eating. And when they see you they associate vegetables with poverty, which is the worst thing that they should do. And vegetables should be the thing that should be associated with the richness of your body and fruits. So you see people I hear there's a culture that they put a whole ugali and then they would just sip. So they would have a whole sufuria of ugali, but they're just sipping in a stew of fish. While on the other hand, they're supposed to be small ugali. It's the fish that's supposed to be sipping the ugali. It's supposed to, you take the fish and then you take the ugali kadogo, but now you see it's opposite. And then another culture, they take a whole shamba of potatoes. And they put it together with rice. Now you see, this is starch upon starch, and they want to be redeemed. There's no redemption for people who eat rice and potatoes all together. So there is nothing you're doing, because at the end of it all, you've increased starch upon starch. That's a sin. So eventually, before meal planning is where you actually get your grams right, you get your servings right, you get your timings right, and you get your sources right. Because if I tell you go and take protein, then you go and eat nyama choma, you see, what are you doing to your body now? You'll be telling yourself, I've eaten meat, but that meat, 1, was raw, 2, probably dirt, 3, salt, the thing we're trying to avoid. With salt, it makes your body imbalance. How? They are in every joint of our body. There are sodium and magnesium, the same electrolytes that are needed in your brain, the same electrolytes that are needed in your kidneys. So if you take too much salt, what happens is, 1, your brain is at risk, 2, your joints are at risk, 3, your kidneys are at risk. And these are the 3 main functions of your body. Because 1, if you lose strength in your bones, that's it for you. Yeah. If you're not able to function in your brain, that's it for you. If you're not able to eliminate, that's it for you. Okay. Yeah. So that's basically the simplest way I would be able to explain meal planning.
Yeah, and also just as we are in meal plans, you had given us you want to define the difference between red meat and white meat. Yeah.
If I go into the definitions, it will take me a
Any examples?
My question was, which meats do you think are red and which meats do you think are white?
I think fish is white meat.
Fish is white meat?
Yeah.
What about chicken?
I think it's white as well.
What about rabbit?
White.
What about pork?
White.
If I could make you shock, probably all of them are red.
All of them? Okay.
Apart from fish.
Okay.
Because you see the red coloring matter in beef, or rather, there's a scientific term for it. The red coloring matter in meat, the color, that part that makes meat look red. You've ever gone to slaughter chicken?
I've seen it being
Been
slaughtered.
right? You see, especially a kienyeji kuku. Do you think that meat is white?
No,
It
it's
has
not.
red
Yeah,
parts in it,
yeah,
yes?
it has.
So it is what is also in human beings. The movement in our joints, the movement in our bodies, it's what induces that red coloring matter even in the flesh, or rather the muscle of an animal flesh. But you see, because they're birds, the only part that moves a lot probably it's the legs and the and the wings, right?
Yeah.
I almost said the feathers. And the wings. So you see, that's why whenever you find when people are going to slaughter chicken, the parts that you find most red are the joints at the legs and the joints at the wings.
Yeah,
That shows you that there is the red coloring matter
yeah.
in all birds
Okay.
because of that strenuous part. People think it's because of exhaustion. No, there is that red coloring part in flesh that is existent in them, and that makes them red meat.
Okay.
But fish does not have.
Yeah.
So the only meat that are classified, or rather, it's yet to become a debate. It's a debate. It's yet to be classified. Even the UN still are contemplating about it because every day they change the charts. But as of now, white meat, the ones that have been classified as white meat, are seafoods. Because for them, there is no red coloring matter in them. So you cannot find that component in them. So pork, rabbit, chicken, as much as people want to call them white, we are sorry, they are red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also touch on dairy products.
Dairy products.
Yeah.
Cheese, ghee, butter. That's what you mean.
Yeah.
Minimal supervision, one, with moderation. If you can be able to supervise yourself minimally, you don't, because what happens with things like ghee and butter, people overuse them because they're used to dress, they're used to fry, because we are told it has better taste. But it's salt that has been added into it.
It's not
You
natural.
Most of them, anything that needs preservation has been added something.
Okay.
Unless you're the one who went to cut the fat from the cow and preserved for yourself. Then as long as it has been written an expiry date, definitely, I'm from the research sector, definitely it has been added something. It's just that it's not harmful to you yet. You know, it's a build-up.
Yeah.
So the more you take, the more it builds itself up, and then one day it blows up.
Yeah.
But if you can be able to take it moderately. But now how? We are busy taking burgers with cheese. We are busy taking pizzas. We are even taking the cheese itself into our own fridges. Before I learned nutrition, if I can confess, I used to grate cheese on my noodles because that's how much I loved cheese. I could apply butter on anything, literally anything. I would cook even with butter. Like, yes, we've added oil, but I would add butter to it until I learned that these are just build up.
Yeah.
And until it reaches a point, then you're like, whoa, I have built so much fat.
Yeah.
They're not bad. It's the quickest way to get fat. But you have to really be moderate with them.
Yeah.
Really moderate. And you have to find the natural sources. And the more you want to find the natural sources, the more expensive they are.
Yeah. And just so that maybe I know, can you be bigger and healthy? There is this movement of big body positivity, and we are team plus size. Can you be that and healthy?
There is something we called BMR, basal metabolic rate. We all have different metabolism, as you're saying. And yes, you can be bigger and healthy, but it can be a perception also, because we've handled cases like somebody comes into the hospital and they're weighing 109 kgs, but this person's BMI, basal metabolic index, is at, the normal BMI is from 18.5 to 21, or rather we extend it to at least 23 because of those cases you're mentioning.
Yeah.
So you can find somebody who is weighing 109 kilograms, and because of their height, they come back to 26. So they're slightly obese,
Yeah.
higher than the normal range.
Mm.
So we'll tell them, for you, particular individual, you just need to work out a little bit. And in real sense, they really need to cut out that weight.
Yeah.
Because eventually, there are so many factors. One, it's your bones. Two, it's your organs. As much as you have a big body, are your organs fitting properly in that big body? Because they might be choked. Have you ever watched these videos on YouTube where they show you a healthy heart and a heart full of cholesterol? They show you, I love watching these things because sometimes it scares me out, but it also reminds me, eat healthy. Because sometimes you might think because you're flexible, but your liver is covered with cholesterol. So sometimes it overworks itself because it needs space. It needs that breathing air. The way you need breathing air. You see how people say, I need my space. Your liver also needs your space. Your brain needs its space. Your heart needs its space. Your kidneys need its space. So when we are busy advocating for bigger body, do not be shameful about your big size.
Yeah.
It is really important to check out if your organs inside are actually surviving, or are they thriving, or are they surviving?
Right. Now to our next point, I want to understand all this positivity of healthy teas. Is there something like people say green tea, then there is, I don't know what, grass tea, and there is hibiscus tea. Are those teas healthy? They're just for the hype so that they can get us selling, and you have this perception, I'm going to lose weight while taking those teas.
I would want to say yes and no at the same time, because these teas are generally made like a shortcut. We are telling people, you don't have to go to the gym and be in a gym setup. We are busy telling people, get a team, go to the gym and work out. Motivation. And then these days, motivation has been Kericho tea.
Yeah.
I like the brand. I like the teas. They have very nice, and Melvins, they have very nice taste. All I can say is
So some brands have nice teas. Yes. Have when they were bad.
Some brands have nice teas,
Mm-hmm.
and I recommend, if you really want to be a quick person, you can use them. However, it will be nice if you look for other sources of antioxidants, because that's the science behind all these teas. Antioxidants, antibacterials, antifungals, and slimming teas. That's the science behind all these teas. So that you can find a quicker way to lose weight, you can find a quicker way to detox. But the most safest way to detox is water, number 1. 2, fruits. 3, lemon. 4, antifungal food sources. Ginger, garlic, lime. These are the safest. Let's not abuse them, but they are safest. Honey. Tomatoes are also antioxidants. Anything that has vitamin E, anything that has vitamin, the vitamin Bs from B1, B2, B3, B4, B6, B12, B11, all of these are components of detox and antioxidants. So in short, I'm telling you, have your vegetables right, have your fruits right.
Right.
You won't need the teas after all.
Yeah.
Eventually. But if you want to be a rapid person who wants to lose weight, well, you can go for it, but make sure your meals are right. Because one thing people do is you have the tea with no meals.
Or tea and mandas. That tea and mandazis.
Now with that is also something else. You're having simple starch, but now with a slimming. You see that people say you are busy saying you want to slim, but you're taking slimming tea with 7 pancakes. It doesn't really count. It's like you pour that water into that glass and put it back. You've done literally nothing. If you're going to have your slimming tea, make sure also your food is right. So I usually ask people, if you're going to have your food is right, why do you need the tea?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. Now that we are here to educate the youth on the nutrition and its importance, what can you tell a youth? Why do they need to be healthy and to eat healthy?
1, for their own well-being.
Mm-hmm.
That's number 1. 2, for the well-being of the society. 3, for the well-being of the people they shall bring on this earth. Those are basically the 3 things that they revolve around.
Yeah.
1, love yourself before you love your neighbor. But before you go to the environment, make sure your body is okay, because when your body is okay, you don't have to stress other people. If you're anorexic, people will start wondering, what is this you're not eating? If you're obese, people will start discriminating you.
Yeah.
So when you eat right, you avoid so many society pressures. 2, that's just psychological. For your well-being, in that you feel nice about your body when you eat well.
Yeah.
You're able to do things as a young adult.
Yeah.
I remember, as a testimony, probably just a short one.
Yeah.
When I was in class 5, I was like this already, until my own mother would say, I have lacked clothes for you. Clothes for your age. And then she would be like, is it my fault or is it your fault that you're eating? And we would look at each other like, you're the one who feeds me. I eat what you feed me. And then my mother would be like, no, I don't think I feed you this. You eat extra. So, you see, it came to a point I would realize, by the way, there's a way I have been eating that it's not really nice to me, because I couldn't fit in the clothes of my age mates. I had to be bought clothes that are for people who are in class 8 or in Form 2. So from then, I've been like this when I became weight conscious.
Yeah.
And I've been feeling great about my body. I've been able to do things that my age mates are doing. I've been able to do even far much better things because I am in my age. I'm in my weight bracket.
Yeah.
So for your own, let me not call it ego, but for your own
Good.
and for your
Yeah.
own growth.
Mm.
Also for your organs,
Mm.
it's very nice, because you wouldn't want to have high blood pressure when you're 25 or you're 30. Right now, I would see, there was a day we were treating a child who has diabetes, and the child is 11 years old because of fluctuations of sugar. And if you ask, it's because this child has sugar all the time he wants. So he's always hyperglycemic every time. So we had to starve that kid for 12 hours. And the child would cry, I want food. And we're like, no, you can't take food. Your sugar levels are high. So you see, you avoid some of these matters. You avoid cardiovascular diseases, that is having a lot of cholesterol in your heart. And then you're able to feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
Eventually, when you eat right, your skin glows. Your body even tells you, hey, you've done a good job, bro. You've done a good job. You're feeling nice about yourself.
Yeah.
Another thing also, it's also for the future. I don't know that you've seen how people comment with J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah.
That woman, she is, how old is she?
50. Yeah.
56, I guess.
Yeah. She's above 50.
She's above.
Yeah.
But that woman looks most healthier than some of us.
Yeah.
It's
True.
because of how she eats. Yes, she will tell you, I do maybe I eat carrots. Rabbit. They call it rabbit food. But it is because of how she was eating in her 20s and how she kept her body well that she is the way she is. There is also this lady who is 84, but she looks finer than most of 25s and 28-year-olds. It is because of how you eat when you're young that will reflect in your latter days. So if you want to have a better feel about your body, a better feel about your organs, if you want to have a stabilized metabolism even while you're old, because the older you get, your metabolism goes down.
Yeah.
So you won't be able to be eating properly. So what happens then? And you're obese. You have hypertension. You have diabetes. You have cancer. You get what happens then if you do not eat right. So your body fails, and it's saddening that some people even die at the age of 50 because of heart attacks and strokes. So, and one last point will be, for the sake of your children. That's what I was saying. Men, please, men, I'm talking to the men. Kindly eat nicely. Because the future of your child is dependent on you. Yes, it's also dependent on the women, but on you. We were raising a campaign of telling men, if you want a child, please be strategic in saying I want a child, because it makes you now start saying I will diet 6 months prior. It is important for the sperm, especially if you want to get a boy child. However, if you want your child to be called a bouncing baby child, yes, it can become a miracle, but if I can use a statement, a miracle in heaven is not a miracle, but a miracle on earth is the miracle. In God, it's the normal being. But there's some things that played a role for it to become a miracle. So even for the man, for the woman, if you eat well now, you're building your eggs as a woman, your ovum. As a man, you're building your sperm. You see, biology, where we used to say the fastest swimmer.
Yeah.
If you want it to be that fast, if you want it to be that boy that you're looking for, no longer, we understand these days it's not dependent to the woman, but dependent to the man.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want your child to come up with a strong genetical makeup, have your food right. As young as you are.
Yeah.
Yes, so for the sake of your kids.
Yeah.
Also, if you want that slimy face kid, kule za mboga saizi.
Right. Just now to finish up, give us some few myths you've heard about nutrition.
Myths.
Or facts that most people may not know.
Let me start with a fact. I can start with coffee. People say coffee makes you weak, right? let's just do a makeup of coffee. Coffee is caffeine, one. We call it a stimulant. But then again, you add sugar. The sugar you're adding is not natural. It is probably even a reject from the sugar canes that has been added preservatives, because this is Kenya. They sell the good products and they leave for Kenyans the rest. So what you've done in that 250 ml in your cup of coffee, you're waiting for it to stimulate you. But what you've done, you've added a lot of caffeine and a lot of sugar. And what really stimulates you is a lot of sugar. It's the sugar that adds the caffeine stimulation. Sugar rush. I would have people prefer take an apple if you really want to be awake, because natural sugar has a way of diffusing into the system more quickly and more healthier. So if you really want to stay awake, go get an apple. It's not so hard.
Yeah.
How much is a coffee sachet?
It's more expensive.
So even though it's, I saw Dormans the other day was 4 shillings. Nescafe, I think it's 5 shillings.
Mm.
The normal ones, right?
Yeah.
Probably you're not going to have just one sachet. You're going to have 2 to 3.
Yeah.
That's 15 shillings. That's an apple. Go get an apple. You can cut it into 4 slices. And if you're having one sachet right now, go have a piece of apple. Substitute it.
Yeah.
You get, and you'll feel refreshed more than, because you see with coffee to stimulate you for a while, sugar rush from the sugar, and then, but now with apple, what it does, it gives you stimulation and gives you an awake sense, but in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Yes. That's one thing I learned, because one day I was challenged by a doctor and he told me I use coffee to sleep, and I got so shocked. When he goes to sleep, he takes a cup of coffee. Unlike some of us who take coffee because we want to stay awake.
Yeah.
Another myth is, one of the myths that probably, I think I've also said it about red meat. Another myth is people thinking that doing one body part exercise really helps them. If you really want to shred body fat, if you really want to have good muscle mass, you really have to do full body workout. Why? Because you are looking forward for a toned body, not a toned ab or a toned hand or a toned leg. And that's why some of these people end up like Johnny Bravo. Because you're toning one part of the body and you're expecting to look uniform the whole body. Okay. And then they tell you, hey, if you finish doing this, now you go and take a whole sufuria of ugali. It doesn't add up, because it's like zero work. Another thing that I love being in the gym because of the things people say. And they would tell you, if you do this kind of exercise, this part of your body. And then you see some of these people, they go to the gym 1 month and then they find themselves, they've added weight. And they've been in the gym. And they're like, why am I adding weight? And I've been in the gym. People don't tell them that probably your body is the kind of body that translates fat into muscle. So you're going to gain weight. And one thing I'll tell people, especially if you had gained weight before and you want to tone your body, the first instances are you're going to see more gain weight than losing it. Because what happens is most of the things in your body will be translated to muscle, and then once it's translated into muscle, then you are able now to shred the excess. And then when it shreds the excess, now the muscle that was gained tones itself now. Yeah, so make sure 70% of your food is 70% of your workout strategy is food.
Yeah.
And then 30% is
Workout. Yeah.
So what does the magic is your food. It's not really the gym.
Yeah.
The gym is just to give you a pat on the back. You've been eating well. Now let's do something. That's it.
Yeah.
I think for now that's what I'll do. I'll give.
Okay. Any last words in general?
While I came in, I mentioned something, and it really has me going.
Yeah.
I usually tell people nutrition is like salvation. Until you get redeemed from your bad eating habits, you're never going to achieve the results you want. The same with salvation. Until you get redeemed from your bad lifestyle that you were living before, you are never going to get results in the spiritual side. The same thing with nutrition. Until you tell yourself, I'm going to let go of junk food. I'm going to let go of a lot of fried food. I'm going to let go of so many salts. If food has come to your table and it has less salt, restrain yourself from adding that salt. If you can do tea, one teaspoon of sugar, the better. By the time you realize the results, you'll have struggled, but it's worth the while. So if you're a Christian and you really want to diet, put your salvation and your nutrition hand to hand, and you will walk properly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Purity.
You're welcome.
It has been a really insightful session and a lot of learning, and hopefully we will take into practice what we've learned. Let not this lesson just go into waste. So that's it from us today. Until next Friday, bye.